It is regional champs day, cyclocross race day. I've been promoted to water boy. We've got water granny and the wheel lady. And it is bloody freezing today. It's like -1, isn't it?
At least.
-1, it's freezing. So regionals champs today at Cyclopark. And today's race day video has been sponsored by absolutely no one, because you lot need to scroll down and subscribe. Tell them, Gravel Granny.
Subscribe.
So we're here in time for Ben's race today. They are just getting gridded now. This is the start. And it is straight, literally. It's like 200 meters straight into a corner. That's going to be carnage. So you can see the start banner there. First corner there. And it narrows down to like 2 wide. That's going to be absolute nightmare. So it's quite a narrow start today, so there's only 6 across the front. I'm gridded 7th. This isn't like my usual league, but they do it off your national rankings, so it's based off where you live this week, and I am southeast region as opposed to Wessex, so I'm going to be 2nd row today. Start. Nice, Ben, great start. Come on, Rocket, practice your run up. No, we're going to watch this off-camber bit. Come on. You ain't got the right trainers on. So super fast start from Ben. We have absolutely no clue where this course goes. I have raced here a couple of years ago at regionals then, but I don't know. But there's a lot of like off-camber sections today. I think they're going to come down here in a second. Well done, Ben. Well done, Alfie. Come on, Ben, stay in this group. Come on, Ben, work hard to get back on that group. Come on, Ben, let's go, mate. Well done, Alfie. Easy little climb. There's a lot of short, sharp little climbs on this course, like little climbs and off cambers. All this zigzagging bit off camber. Come on, mate. Good lad, keep working then. Well done, Ben, finish it up then. So that was 5th place for Ben, proper fast race that. I'm going to get out on the course now because it looks like a really tricky off-camber course with loads of punchy little climbs, so I might need to practice it a couple of times because we haven't done much off-camber this year, but going to go and give that a whack now and see what it's feeling like. So a little look at the practice lap. It was a slightly different first lap. We avoided the steep climb that's on the left here, went straight on up a bank, round a little off-camber bit, just because you know what it's like, everyone's absolutely tanking it in at the start of the race, so just to avoid a big pile up on the short sharp climb. But I did do 2 laps today because this first one there was just a lot of traffic and I couldn't hit any of the off-camber sections or anything at speed, so we'll jump into the 2nd lap now. And I was coming into that same little section but the hill now with quite a lot of speed because I was trying to do it at race pace and I had an absolute mare here, so I'll pause it here. You can see the lady on the right going up the hill. I completely apologise. I was hitting this sort of semi-race pace to make sure I knew what line I wanted to take and everything, and I did have my head down a bit, but I'll play it from here. I went straight over the bars and straight into the back of her, so I was carrying too much speed. She got off and I just hit the brakes and didn't have time to react, so I apologise to that rider there. But back into it, absolute mare. We had a little downhill section which was slightly off camber before we went up and onto a flat section which started to drag up to the top of the course. After we've hit this little drag, we then dropped back down onto the bottom bit towards the road, but thankfully staying off the road and on the grass section, which dragged all the way up to the top and onto the bridge. This was a nasty little kicker up to the bridge because it was a tight right-hander up on the bridge. And then we were into the first off-camber section. This is the first of many. You just hit this nice and fast and then into a corner, and then it zigzags around a bit before you go back under the bridge. After the bridge, nice and fast, get some speed through these corners. It was really good twisty little section before we then come up and into a little tiny off-camber section, and you then head down back towards the start area. But you've got another off-camber section here. You'll notice that a lot in this video. There was a lot of off-camber before we then drop down into this really fast straight. This was absolutely killer into a headwind, upper bank, nice little kicker, and then we're into the technical off-camber section. This was tricky, this one. It had some turns in it. It was all off-camber, and you weren't really hitting it with that much speed, so you were having to grind back up the climb. Really cool little section, and it was super tough. Like, I was getting better as the race went on that, and then you come down the hill, and you wouldn't believe it, into another off-camber section, but there was a nice little rut there that sort of helped you hold your line. You then down past the pits, nice and fast, couple of straights before we then crossed over the road again, and we were into a really nice flowing little corner section down towards the bottom end of the track. Once we were down to the bottom end, before that there was yet another off-camber section, and then we were down into the bottom section, which had some tight twisty little corners to negotiate before popping ourselves out of there, up a little climb, and you guessed it, there's another little off-camber section just here before we go back into the main field where start finish pits is. So down into the pit area field, couple of corners before, you guessed it again, another off-camber section. This is, if you like off-camber, you need to race Cyclopark. Then into a couple of little corners before we head down towards the last little off-camber section and up this tiny little kicker, which was quite awkward, and into the start finish straight, and that was the end of the lap. Well, that was an eventful practice lap. So I'd done 2 laps just because it's a tricky off-camber course. First lap, there was quite a lot of traffic, so you couldn't get any speed into the bits you wanted to try. So I went round for another lap, and I don't know, I'll have to watch the footage back. It might have been my fault, but I was coming into like the steep bank, and I had head down, just absolutely tanking it. As I looked up, the person in front of me had got off and was right in my line, and I just hit the brake straight over the bars, absolutely numpty. But that is a wicked course, some seriously tough like off-camber sections. It's going to be a brute of a race. The lap's quite long, I reckon it's like nearly a 10-minute lap, I don't know. So the usual pre-race pancakes, which the Rocket makes for me, we're not having this morning because Ronald's made them this morning, not the Rocket.
We had to leave too early.
We had to leave early because this isn't like my local, well, it sort of kind of is my local race, but it's like miles away compared to the league I normally ride. The Rocket didn't have time to make my pancakes, but luckily Ronald pulled through, and we've got, oh, I'm ashamed, what sort of athlete am I? We've got McDonald's pancakes today. Cold as well, yeah. It was literally the only place I could find in the services that done pancakes, so you're a disappointment. Oh, that look. So pre-race pancakes are gonna go down. I can't imagine they're gonna be the best in the world, and then it's race time. I'm super nervous this week. Like, I know it's just a cyclocross race, but I think like regionals level, it's like a step up from what we normally do. I don't know if it is, but in my head it feels like that, and I'm not in my comfort zone of the Wessex League, so you don't know any of the other riders, which is scary, isn't it, Sarah?
Yeah, so scary.
She's so scary. Here we go then, McDonald's pancake taste test. It's like a bit of cardboard. Look, oh my god, it doesn't even like fold it. It's like a bit of rubber. Oh, it's like rubber. That is chewy. You need to pull your finger out next time, lady. Make me my pancakes. Right, race time. Here we go then, race start, and as usual, absolutely balls to the wall. I didn't get a great start. I think I slipped back to about 10th and got a little bit blocked out as well, but I was a bit nervous on that start. And then first lap, you can see the leaders here absolutely tanking it. They just went full send up the climb, and I think there's about 4, 5, 6. I probably came through in about 8th or 9th position after lap 1. So this is lap 2, where we're now going into that steep climb, and then round the other side we're shooting down that fast headwind straight. But I dropped back. I was probably about 9th position at this time, and the front guys have really put the hammer down straight off the bat. You can see them here up and over the bridge. They were just pulling the pin on the rest of us, and everyone else was just trying to hang on, but they had pulled a bit of a gap, you can see here slowly. So there was a group of us now that had come through, and we were all sort of battling for, I think it was 7th place, this little battle here. So the front guys have pulled away, we're then battling for 7th. Really good little battle between the 4 of us, and it was a fast pace. I mean, at this point I was just hanging on for dear life, trying to stay in this group, and I was trying to recover from the start. It's a really fast start, so you can see the leaders here just dropping down, and they had got a fairly sizable gap at this point. I mean, we're probably halfway through the race and they were way out in front. But our group, we had now, one guy had attacked off the front, this guy here. I tried to go with it, I didn't quite have the legs to go with it, but I was sitting in 8th position now. This climb here, absolutely savage. I didn't get this right the whole race, but I was sitting in 8th position. You can see the guy in 7th, 8th, and the guy in 9th place started to close the gap on me just there. I think by the end of the next lap, he had actually come past me, dropped me on the straight, and then I was working my backside off trying to get back on him. So I dropped into 9th. I managed to close the gap down in the next lap, and now we were sort of fighting it out for 8th position and just having a real good battle. I managed to sit in for a lap, get my recovery in, and then we were on to the final lap. So you can see 7th place just coming through there, and there was a fairly big gap between 7th and me and the guy battling out for 8th. So I think this little, I'll play the whole bit here. It was probably about 20, maybe more than that, about 20 seconds. But you can see us coming through now, 8th and 9th. And this is when I put in my monumental attack. It doesn't look like much, but I absolutely pulled the pin up there and turned the screw on the last lap. So you can see 7th come through, and I managed to close the gap down to 6 seconds on the final lap and came through in 8th position. Absolutely mega day at South Eastern London Regional Champs, and they put on a wicked event and an epic course. An 8th place finish for me. The goal before the race is I wanted to try and get top 5, but I'm still super pleased with that. The standard at the race was mega. Like, there was some top quality riders there, so I'm really pleased with 8th, and I had an absolute banging last lap, to be fair, so pleased with that. That is definitely the best and hardest course I've raced this year. That is one of like our national round courses, so absolutely mega. It was brutal. It was bone dry though, and it didn't really suit me. Like, on the flat sections, I was getting absolutely dropped by all the roadies, but on like the twisty off cambers, it was an epic course. And thanks to Dad for standing around in the pits and the Rocket for filming. Like, -1 degree today. It was absolutely freezing, but the day is not over yet, because Dad has also pulled through and bought us some cinnamon buns as a treat for after the race. What a legend. They are going to slide down. I'm super pleased with that result, and it's definitely, it's got me hungry for more, to be honest, and wanting to close that gap on the people in front of me. So it's definitely time to put some more work in, try and close the gap. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.